She was just exchanging some funny text messages with her elder sister before going to work in the morning. And after some moments, she just stopped replying. When calls came, nobody received. Even at home, she was not there. And that way, hours passed, but she never returned, as if she just vanished into thin air and nobody knows a thing. However, when the investigation started, it turned out there's something more sinister in play. With further probing, friends and relatives reveal a past of fear, violence, and terrible threats leveled against Maddie. Shocking new revelations begin to uncover the truth behind Maddie's last days. What really happened to her? And will Maddie Kingsbury ever get justice? Madeline Kingsbury was a devoted mother and an extraordinary 26-year-old woman from Winona, Minnesota. On the morning of March 31st, Maddie and the father of her children, Adam Fravel, dropped the kids off at daycare around 8 a.m. When they returned home at around 8:15 a.m., Adam said he saw Maddie heading to the home office to begin her workday. This was the time when she had a funny text exchange with her elder sister, Megan, but after that, nobody could reach her. Maddie's family and friends, especially Megan, kept dialing throughout the day, but no one got any response. She even rang up Adam, and he is told that he hasn't heard from her either. Megan then texted Maddie's friend, Katie Kolka, and requested her to check on her at home. But as Katie reached there, the house was empty. Naturally, she called the Winona police, but she couldn't file a missing persons report unless Maddie had been missing for 24 hours. Adam went to Facebook and posted a plea for help. And even by next morning, when Maddie didn't return, her family had filed a missing persons report officially. When the authorities came, they didn't see any sign of struggle or any kind of hint of where she may have gone. However, the police immediately started a thorough investigation. The media began to pick up on the fact that Maddie was missing, and the news spread like a wildfire across Winona. As Maddie lived with her partner, Adam, in that house before she went missing, the detectives had to interrogate him about their background. He told them that they met each other at college when she was studying at Winona State University. And when Maddie was going to have their first child, they decided to settle down in Winona. Adam stopped school in order to stay at home to look after Maddie so that she could complete her final degree. After college, Maddie became a clinical research coordinator at the Mayo Clinic and was doing her master's degree at the University of Minnesota. She also had just completed her first semester there with excellent grades. Speaking of the day of disappearance, Adam said that nothing unusual happened when they went to daycare to drop off the kids. The daycare provider herself, who released video footage of the drop-off, supported Adam's version. The police report provided by Adam states that, after returning home, he had borrowed Maddie's blue minivan to move some boxes to his parents' place at Mabel. That time, Maddie was alone at home. He got back about 11:30 a.m. and texted Maddie regarding dinner plans and picking up the kids, but she never replied. He thought maybe she carpooled to work, so he went to pick up the kids again from daycare at about 4:20 p.m. This time again, the daycare's surveillance footage supported his account. But the day after Maddie's disappearance, police suddenly discovered one unusual thing. Adam had fresh cuts on his face. Adam explained that this happened due to a friend's dog. When the detectives searched their house at Winona, they discovered Maddie's purse, jacket, and credit cards. But still, Maddie was nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Megan took to TikTok begging people to help locate Maddie, and even in such a short time, the video received quite some attention. Public interest and law enforcement had already been upping the search efforts. On April 5, 2023, the Kingsbury family came forward offering a $50,000 reward for any information related to their missing loved one. As a result, just 2 days later, on April 7th, 1,800 people mobilized to help with the search. Volunteers searched the vast expanses of desert, state parks, and scoured every kind of terrain. As days went by, Adam began to be probed, and this resulted in disturbing stories from Maddie's friends. It came out that 3 years ago, Maddie's friend Haley had witnessed an alarming incident over a video call when Adam slapped Maddie after saying some harsh words about their home. Then in September 2021, Maddie confided in Haley about Adam's weird fixation on the infamous Gabby Petito case, After seeing a news special on it, he threatened her by grabbing her throat and warned her that she could also end up like Gabby. Basically, Adam used the case of Gabby Petito in order to manipulate and blackmail Maddie. If you aren't familiar with the case of Gabby Petito, it involved a 22-year-old woman, Gabby, whom her fiancé, Brian Christopher Laundrie, murdered while they were traveling in a van across the United States in 2021. The two had initially taken off at the beginning of July 2021. By the end of August, Gabby was reported missing. Later on, Brian got an arrest warrant because they used her debit card. On September 19th, the body of Gabby was found in the Bridger-Teton National Forest in Wyoming. Autopsy said she died because of blunt force injuries and strangulation. 5 days earlier, on September 13th, Brian was missing too, and his body was found more than a month later in Florida. Turned out that he had actually taken his own life, and the notebook contained a confession that it was actually him who killed Gabby. The case brought much attention since social media posts, police body cam footage, 911 calls, and media coverage filled everyone's feeds. And Maddie's partner, Adam, closely followed the case just out of interest. But Adam's abusive nature was not unknown to Maddie's friends and family. Megan also had seen the on-again, off-again nature of Maddie's relationship with Adam for at least 2 years before Maddie vanished. He hadn't been good to her, wasn't especially interested in getting visits from the kids, and had not been much help in helping to maintain the house. Megan told Maddie countless times to get out of the relationship, but Maddie still stayed with him. Even their father, David, was similarly disturbed by how Adam had been treating Maddie. He felt she gave everything to the relationship, while Adam gave very little in return. Maddie's stepmom, Kathy, stated that Maddie would call her crying often, as she felt Adam wasn't being supportive. Even when Adam abused her, threatening with the case of Gabby Petito, she did inform her dad and stepmom about the incident, and they took Maddie and the kids away for a few days. But just after 3 days, Maddie came back to Adam, who was steamed at her for leaving. No wonder when Maddie went missing, the detectives asked Adam if he had any fights with Maddie recently. Beauty, he completely denied it, saying that nothing happened. Though he did admit to telling some things about Gabby Petito, he mentioned that it was only a joke. Later, the investigators found some saved screenshots of a text message in which Maddie wrote that she was uncomfortable because of Adam's abusive nature. As the doubts grew on him, the detectives tried to verify all the activities Adam did on the day Madeline disappeared, but all the footage supported his alibi, except one logical gap. The timestamps in his story didn't fit properly. There was a 45-minute gap in the video feed around Choice, Minnesota, where the detectives had lost Adam. The investigators kept scratching their heads about where he was at the moment, but since they didn't find any direct evidence connecting him to Maddie's disappearance, they could not pin him down, and he was still living with his kids at his parents' place. But as the investigation unfolded, a new lead also arose about Maddie's another romantic relationship with an Army veteran, Spencer Sullivan. In spring 2023, Maddie finally opened up to her dad about her bitter relationship with Adam. She sensed things were falling apart, and during that time, she had joined Tinder, where she met Spencer, who had a history of her situation with Adam. Spencer knew Adam from college, and not only that, he also knew what Maddie was going through. They started secretly seeing each other, and only her family and a close friend knew about it. When Maddie went missing, detectives questioned Spencer too on his relationship with Maddie and where he was on the 31st of March, 2023. He also presented his alibi before the police and even handed over his phone to be verified. After all the investigations, the police concluded that Spencer hadn't committed any crime. In fact, Haley, Maddie's friend, said that Spencer was rather a good influence on Maddie. Spencer made Maddie realize that she deserved much better than Adam. It was discovered that Maddie disappeared just after 6 days she had confessed to Adam about Spencer, that she felt guilty for seeing him in secret. Maddie's family noticed that Adam seemed to hurt and cry after learning that Maddie has feelings for someone else, which was the end of their relationship. Adam's sister Teresa and brother Ryan were very also grieved at Maddie and Adam's breakup. They really loved Maddie as one of the members of their family, like a little sister. So, her loss cut them deep. Just the day before she vanished, Maddie contacted Katie as she was feeling quite upset over Adam's behavior towards her. Regarding all these, he also made some comments that threatened her new relationship in a certain way. She had just spent the day at Katie's house celebrating Katie's birthday with donuts and a cool Star Wars Lego set she brought as a present to her. The last moment they shared together was, in fact, nice and tender. Maddie smiled and waved goodbye from the doorway of Katie's house. There was also a recorded conversation in which Maddie had voiced her fears for her own safety, even stating that if something ever happened to Maddie or her children, Adam would be responsible. And then, this tragedy happened. While the investigation was going on one day, police received a tip that Adam was seen riding his bike around his parents' house with a shovel. The police didn't waste time to go and search his parents' house and car. And finally, the cadaver dogs discovered the scents related to human remains in his car. At this point, everybody was mentally preparing for the worst, assuming that the remains belonged to Maddie. And on the next day, the police chief confirmed that news officially. It was heartbreaking news which shattered her friends and family. The remains were found off Highway 43 in North Mabel, Minnesota, approximately 46 miles south of Winona. Many details about the case are still not revealed, such as whether or not the body had been moved, how many people were involved in the crime, and the condition of the remains. The police only revealed that the body had been hidden along a low-traffic public road, and it was not on any property belonging to the Fravel family or to any relatives. There were times when the area had already been searched, but the remains were still hidden. Even an autopsy was done, but the cause of death has not been revealed to the public. Her body was wrapped in a gray-fitted bedsheet with duct tape around the ends, and a towel covered her head. Adam was arrested on charges of second-degree murder. This is remarkably eerie, as the bedding found was similar to the one set in Maddie's apartment. Another linkage was the site where her body was discovered and was connected to the Fravel family. Further, detectives found that there was some unexplained lapse of 45 minutes in Adam's timeline. Maddie's post-mortem showed that she had been killed through homicidal violence. Allegations suggested Adam might have acted out of financial distress and anger at their breakup, especially as Maddie had a $170,000 death benefit with no listed beneficiary. Friends have mentioned that Adam made little contribution to being a parent to the children. He was mostly dependent on Maddie. When police searched the couple's home, they just added to the suspicion surrounding Adam. The surveillance cameras in the house had been removed. His relatives continued to protest he was innocent, and the shovel cadaver dogs had indicated was used actually to bury a dead raccoon. Adam's lawyers released a statement claiming he was cooperating with the police and had nothing to do with Maddie's disappearance. They also moved to suppress video of his police interrogation, saying it was not recorded because he hadn't been given his Miranda rights. The Miranda rights are basically there to inform him that he has a right to remain silent, that anything he says will be used against him, and that he has a right to a lawyer. They also argued in court hearings that there isn't even any solid evidence for the crime to even bring him to trial on murder. Meanwhile, his siblings pleaded with investigators to question others who might have had motive to frame their brother, starting with Spencer Sullivan. But most people already believed that it was Adam who was the ultimate guilty, though the detectives weren't sure of after how long of her disappearance she was murdered. Former prosecutor and defense attorney Mary Fuji said that in missing persons cases, the first few hours are most important, especially in cases of foul play. Law enforcement often states that the first 12 hours can be a matter of life and death. Although Maddie's family and friends were petrified of potential dangers in Maddie's relationship, the police didn't believe enough time had passed since Maddie had walked out. So in a way, if the police hadn't delayed things at the start, there's a chance they might have found Maddie alive. Her friends were worried Maddie might have been in some kind of trouble because she hadn't been gone long. Only Adam was the only one who dismissed their concerns, claiming Maddie hadn't gone missing long. Text messages between Adam and Katie Kolka showed that he was confused at such urgency on their side. He insisted he had seen Maddie earlier, so he didn't understand why they were freaking out. The anxiety grew in Katie as she began to notice the strange responses from Adam. When the murder trial started, the prosecution pointed out that interest in the Gabby Petito case might play a huge role for the jurors. The point they tried to prove was, maybe Adam was planning for this cold-blooded murder for a long time, and the Gabby Petito case just showed him a way and gave inspiration. On the contrary, Adam's defense team and family believe him to be innocent, that they could respond to all the allegations made against him. Reports of physical fights between Adam and the victim, Maddie, have also surfaced. It was not only threatening Maddie with the Petito case, Fravel had been beating the hell out of her for years. That's what Lauren Dubois, a college classmate of Maddie, revealed to the police. While Dubois was hospitalized at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester where Maddie worked and had stopped by to chat, Maddie even asked Dubois for advice on how to end her relationship. And this was the case months before Maddie's disappearance. But surprisingly, Adam denied all the claims of ever being violent with Maddie. In the meantime, as Maddie's dead body and her remains have already been found, the court increased charges against Adam from murder in second-degree to first-degree murder, indicating new evidence. The family of Maddie asks for justice and tries to make people aware of domestic violence. A Facebook page has been created called Finding Maddie Kingsbury. As of today, it has attracted more than 28,000 followers who frequently post and comment on messages encouraging people with regard to her case, particularly since Kingsbury's family are not allowed in the courtroom because of a judge's ruling to sequester witnesses, and that includes her immediate family. Maddie's sister commented on Facebook, saying that she is looking for more information on their support. Meanwhile, there are already 3 counts against Fravel: first-degree murder during domestic abuse, first-degree premeditated murder, and 2 counts of second-degree murder. There are more than 150 witnesses the state has identified in the case. The trial, already estimated to be a month-long process, will entail that the 8 days of testimonies be taped or recorded by videotape, prohibiting witnesses and spectators from wearing anything that could influence jurors. The supporters are requested to wear blue clothes. The trial is going on at the Blue Earth County Justice Center, Mankato, following a change of venue, as there were some concerns about jury impartiality in Winona. And we are still waiting for justice. Now tell us, what do you think about this case? What's your take on both Maddie and Adam's lifestyle prior to this incident? Share your views in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel for more thrilling true crime stories like this. See you soon.